The mainstream narrative of the national freedom movement, which have been taught, which have been recorded, documented, and which are taught to our students in schools and colleges, they by and large revolve around the history of Indian National Congress. Those who were not part of the national freedom movement, they fell on either on the margin or as the footnote or nowhere. They do not find adequate place. We have started talking about them, it's a different thing now, but they do not find mainstream narrative of the national freedom movement. And there are many more.
நாட்டின் சுதந்திர போராட்ட வரலாற்றை திருத்தி எழுத வேண்டும். ஆளுநர் RN ரவி அதிரடி கருத்து. திருச்சி தேசிய கல்லூரியில் நடைபெற்ற விழாவில் பேசிய அவர், இந்திய சுதந்திர போராட்ட வரலாறு காங்கிரஸ் கட்சியை மையப்படுத்தியே ஆவணம் செய்யப்பட்டுள்ளது. தன்னிறைவாக இருந்த கிராமங்கள் மீது பல வரிகளை ஆங்கிலேயர் விதித்ததால் கிராமங்களில் தன்னெழுச்சியான போராட்டங்கள் வெடித்தன. தமிழகத்தில் சுதந்திர போராட்டத்தில் பங்கேற்றவர் பட்டியலில் 30 பேர் மட்டுமே இடம்பெற்றுள்ளது என்றும், ஆனால் 800க்கும் மேற்பட்டோர் போராட்டத்தில் பங்கேற்றுள்ளனர் என்றும் அவர் கூறினார். இந்திய சுதந்திர போராட்டத்தில் பங்கேற்று உயிர் தியாகம் செய்தவர்களின் வரலாறு பதிவு செய்யப்படாமல் உள்ளது என்றும், அவர்களை நாம் முழுமையாக ஆவணப்படுத்த வேண்டும் என்றும் அவர் கூறினார்.
But here I would like to raise some basic questions. The questions which are more basic, more fundamental when it comes to our national freedom movement, the history of our national freedom movement. To some of you, it might look absurd question. What is this? But the fact is that there is lack of clarity on our national freedom movement. The mainstream narrative of the national freedom movement, which have been taught, which have been recorded, documented, and which are taught to our students in schools and colleges, they by and large revolve around the history of Indian National Congress. Because they were the one who were prominently leading the movement. Mahatma Gandhi was at the helm of affairs. So, those who were not part of the national freedom movement, they fell on either on the margin or as the footnote or nowhere. So, what do we mean when we say national freedom movement? When we look for the movement which was a mass movement, it could not be just confined to only Indian National Congress. They were great leaders, no doubt about it. But there were far many more people. And that is how we find the people like Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, Veer Pandya Kattabomman, Velu Nachiyar, V.O. Chidambaram Pillai, Maruti brothers, Pulidevan, many of them. They do not find adequate place. We have started talking about them, it's a different thing now, but they do not find mainstream narrative of the national freedom movement. And there are many more. Since the freedom movement led by our great leader, father of the nation, Mahatma Gandhi, was essentially non-violent, what about those who chose, those who could not bear the agony of slavery, and they fought? Like Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, he built the INA, Indian National Army, and used force to fight the British. What about at individual level? Sardar Udham Singh, Bhagat Singh, Chandrasekhar Azad, Rajguru, Sukhdev, many from here as well. They could not bear the agony and they paid the price with their life. But they were called revolutionaries and they were at that point of time, and subsequently they have been projected as if they were causing a hindrance to the movement. So the mainstream narrative about the national freedom movement does not do proper justice to these people. When did the national freedom movement begin? Larger narrative in the country says 1857. Even if we take the European colonization, we don't go beyond. Even if we take European colonization of India, then was it that 1857 that the national freedom movement began? Because it is, in popular discourse, many places it is called the first war of independence. If that is so, what about 1806 in Vellore on the 10th of July, when hundreds and hundreds of Indian soldiers, they stormed this fort and killed more than 100 British military and other officials? What was that? British called it mutiny, and we accepted this as a mutiny. Was it not a freedom movement? We have to take a call. If it was not, what was it then? And there are umpteen cases, so many cases. When the what is national freedom movement? This needs to be understood. There needs to be clarity about it. We all know that our country for thousands of years was organized along villages. There was no administration, effective administration interfering or dealing with the day-to-day beyond the village. Even British, when they came, they started collecting taxes and creating issues, but the village was autonomous. And most of the villages, they resisted whenever the British tried to either occupy them or to coerce them or interfere in their life.